Victory in the pre-final has put Australia's James Golding on pole for the junior grand final. Having crossed the line less than 0.2 of a second behind him in that race, Finland's Samu Kamala shares the front row. Britain's Ross Gunn and Japan's Katsuto Kataka are on the second row of the grid, and it's an all-Dutch third row with European Championship runner-up Jano Esmaja starting 5th and Stefan van Galen in 6th. So the red lights are on. When they go out, the race will start. And here we go. The junior race at the Rotax Max Grand Finals roars into life, and they're led away by James Golding in the familiar golden-green colours of Australia. Oh, and there's a huge crash. 2 carts sent right up in the air, and now another is tipped upside down on the grass. Something sent Turkey's Berke Besler pointing in the wrong direction. A couple of carts clipped him. They're flicked up into the air, but land the right way up, while the 161 cart of Zachary Scarlo, one of the Canadian drivers, tips over after running into the grass banking. Ahead of all that, Golding continues to lead the race, but it's Ross Gunn up to second place now. Further back, some more contact. 3 drivers in trouble. 169 Alvaro Otero Perez flirting with the tyre barrier. 115 Jess Bachmann also off the road, and 160 Marino Sato also involved in that. And seeing the replay, it looks like a case of 3 carts all trying to fit into the same tiny space. So a dramatic start to the race with Zachary Scarlo on the wrong end of a chain reaction on that run into turn 1. His cart sent upside down, but remember, these drivers are protected by some high-tech safety equipment, including impact-absorbing helmets, hands devices and rib protectors. So despite hair-raising moments like the one we saw, this remains a safe sport relative to the speeds they're doing. And happy to say all the drivers involved in that look to be okay. There were no such dramas for the lead trio, James Golding, Ross Gunn and Jano Esmaja. Just behind them, a good start to the race for the Chinese driver Guanyu Zhu, who's already climbed from 7th to 4th. Spain's John de Valitur has made up 4 places to run 5th at the end of lap 1, and Britain's Josh White completes the top 6, which means he's made up 5 places because he started back in 11th place on the grid. So they're heading towards the end of the lap and about to go on to the start of lap 2, accelerating up to about 90 kilometres per hour on this rolling, undulating start-finish straight. James Golding leads, but he's being shadowed still by Ross Gunn. The slightest of gaps back then to the next 3 as Gunn now tries a move. He's got his nose in front, but Golding is fighting back, squeezes alongside, and straight away he regains the lead on the way into the next corner, which allows 177 Jano Esmaja to draw alongside Gunn. The Dutchman can't find a way past, and now he's offline, which almost allowed Guanyu Zhu in the 141 cart. When you go for a move, you've got to be absolutely sure you can get past, because if it doesn't work and you're stranded off the racing line, even just for a split second, you can bet there'll be somebody else right behind ready to steal your place in the queue. As now we see a change for second place. A good clean move that by Esmaja to get ahead of Gunn. So Golding, Esmaja, Gunn are the top 3. Then it's Zhu in 4th with number 123 John de Valitur on the tail of this lead group in 5th. 143 Katsuto Kataka is 6th. There's, oops, 1 cart forced onto the grass. It's Thomas Preining from Austria, this year's Central and Eastern European Rotax Max champion. Meanwhile, a change for 3rd because Guanyu Zhu has just overtaken Ross Gunn. And now what? Bang! 2 carts into the tyre barrier. That's what? 154 is Patrick Pastorak, and the other is number 126, which is Christopher Dreyspring, the German driver. So the leaders come through. James Golding still ahead for IKD, International Karting Distributor. And now more trouble. Another 2 carts come together. This time it's 176 Stefano van Galen, who ran into Thomas Preining. So Preining really in the wars on this lap. Here's de Valitur with the black race suit, having a go for 4th place, battling with Ross Gunn, but the Spaniard doesn't make it through, and Gunn keeps the place. The top 5 just getting a little bit more spread out now. Golding leads for Australia, Esmaja 2nd for the Netherlands, Zhu 3rd for China, Gunn 4th for Great Britain, and de Valitur 5th for Spain. Could hardly be more international, could it? As this, the 13th running of the Rotax Max Grand Finals, continues, an annual event which first ran in Puerto Rico back in 2000 and which has since taken place in countries as far and wide as Malaysia, South Africa, Egypt, Italy and the United Arab Emirates. Somebody I haven't talked about since the very beginning of the race is Samu Kamala, the Finnish driver. He qualified on the front row but got off to a bad start and is currently stuck down in 7th place. Meanwhile, you've got the likes of de Valitur marching forwards in this race, picking up quite a few positions. Here's a move for 3rd, change of position as Ross Gunn storms down the inside of Zhu, and Ross Gunn, the Thule Motorsport entered driver, looks like he's picked up the pace now again. He had a great start, led very briefly, but slipped back a bit after the first couple of laps. And it's not all that long ago he was busy fending off de Valitur on the hold to hold on to 4th place. Here he is now, back in contention, but he hasn't shaken off the 141 card of Zhu yet. and ahead of them both, it couldn't be any closer for the lead. Look at this, nose to tail. Jano Esmayer almost close enough to give James Golding a tap on the shoulder, but the Australian is really late on the brakes at the end of the straight, and that's helping him to stay ahead. Meanwhile, it's neck and neck for third place again, and that's Ross Gunn getting at the inside of Guan Yu Zhu again, so the Chinese driver must have snatched the position back at the first corner while we were watching the leaders. It didn't last long. Gunn's back to third place, but they've been holding each other up because, look, John de Valiteur is back on their tail in fifth place, and they've all been caught by the red, white and blue colours of Samu Kamala in the 144 kart. So not only has the Finnish driver got back up to sixth place following his poor start, but he's the quickest driver on the track at the moment. And just off the back of this lead group, running in ninth place, is Britain's Harry Webb, the new Euro champion. Now, ninth place doesn't sound all that great, but Webb didn't have the best of luck in the qualifying heats and the pre-final, so he started this race back in 22nd position. 13 places gained already then for the Strawberry Racing driver. Now, are we about to see some more overtaking on this long run down in towards turn one? Indeed we are. De Valiteur outbrakes Zhu, but the Chinese driver stays tight on the exit and shows plenty of determination to get fourth place back. Samu Kamala almost running into the back of De Valiteur as they battled ahead, and he's just waiting for an opportunity to pounce, isn't he? Here come the leaders, Australia's James Golding and Holland's Jano Esmayer. Their home countries separated by about 15,000 kilometres or 9,000 miles. But most of the time in this race, their bumpers have been separated by just a few millimetres. The question, though, is this. Can Esmayer do anything? Is he just trying to hang on to the tail of the race leader? Or has he got something in reserve? Is he sitting there, biding his time and storing something up for later in the race? If that's the case, he might be prompted into making a move soon, because I've got a feeling they are being caught by Ross Gunn in third place. There's a move, lovely move. That was Samu Kamala grabbing fifth place from John de Valiteur as the race leader now comes under attack. The first real attack from Jano Esmayer, and he's done it. Esmayer up to first place, Golding demoted to second, and right now, third is Gunn. Golding fights back, but they're both overtaken by Ross Gunn. Absolutely fantastic piece of opportunism there for the British driver. Gunn read that beautifully. He could see that Golding was going to launch one up the inside, and he made sure he was close enough to squeeze past when the inevitable happened. The two ahead ran slightly wide, and just like that, he went from third to first. I suppose you could say that the Gunn shot into the lead. So we've had three different leaders on that lap. Well, actually, we've had three different leaders within the space of about 6 seconds. All changed then on the 7th lap of the race. Ross Gunn is the new leader from James Golding and Jano Esmayer. And just behind, a glimpse of Kamala going on the attack for fourth place. But let's concentrate on this lead trio, because it's all change again as Golding and Esmayer draft straight past Gunn. Whoever leads down the straight is giving a massive tow to anyone that's right behind, and we could well be seeing some tactical racing as we move towards the second half of this grand final. It's lap 8 of the junior race here at the Rotax Max Grand Finals, taking place around this fantastic circuit at the Cartodromo Internazionale Algarve here in Portugal. And we're enjoying this great three-way tussle for the lead as Jano Esmayer runs wide from second place and presents Ross Gunn with a free gift. Uncharacteristic error that from Esmayer. He's had a great season in the Euro Rotax Max Challenge, where he finished second in the championship. He led briefly just one lap ago, but Esmayer now finds himself back in third place, behind Ross Gunn and the race leader, James Golding from Australia. Finland's Sami Kamala is in fourth place, but he's now got a rather large queue of karts forming up behind him. And in amongst that group is the European Rotax Max champion, Harry Webb, who has climbed all the way up from 22nd on the grid. The leaders are bunching up again, and I'm sure that was Ross Gunn drawing alongside James Golding to try and take the lead. We'll have to wait and see if he made it, because here's the battle for fourth, and Kamala outbrakes himself, runs wide, and there's Harry Webb to pick up the position. Well, Kamala knew he had to brake mega late to keep the Wolves at bay into turn one, but he just overcooked it slightly, and Webb got him on the exit. Kamala is now having to work overtime to keep 163 Parker Thompson behind him. There's Thompson, the Canadian, in the red and black suit. He has a go, but gets cut off. That kills his speed through the apex, and now John de Valiteur is able to carry more speed, takes the short route up the inside, and charges from 6th to 4th in kart 1, 2, 3. Kamala in the blue and white race suit falls back to 5th, and Parker Thompson drops to 6th, although this is still a good effort by the Canadian, given that he started back in 18th place. Running in 7th place is the 141 kart of China's Guan Yu Zhu. Then it's 175, Lars Lamberel from the Netherlands in 8th. Bumper to bumper almost as they charge down the straight. We've just got past mid-distance, And here are the leaders, and yes, it's Ross Gunn who has now taken charge. Further back, more action as Parker Thompson dives past Der Valiteur, and that's Sami Kalmala almost crashing out of the race. Let's watch again, look for the second pair. Kalmala in the blue and white suit thinks about a move, tries to back out of it, but then his front wheels get clipped as Zhu turns into the corner. 175, Lars Lambrel was able to get ahead of them both. He's another one having a good race, up from 13th on the grid. And look at this, the top four are swarming all over each other as they rush towards turn one. Gunn is under attack for the lead. Golding trying around the outside. What a move! The Australian's done it. He was totally committed to that move, and it was quite a risky one around the outside. No margin for error, and he pulled it off. But Gunn's got him back, and up the curbs on the inside goes Harry Webb. He's 32nd, he's first. Gunn is on the grass, he's delayed, and sure enough, James Golding comes back through to pick up second place. And Ismaya now looks for the gap, and he gets by as well. All because Gunn lost valuable acceleration with that trip onto the grass. The new race order then looks like this. Harry Webb leads, James Golding is second, Jano Ismaya is third, and Ross Gunn drops to fourth. An incredible move from Webb to move from fourth to first in less time than it takes to say it. Lars Lambrel is fifth, then we've got this little battle for sixth place between 163 Parker Thompson and 123 John de Valiteur. So how about this for a drive? Harry Webb has climbed a mountain to lead this race. He's overtaken 21 other drivers to get here, and he's done it with more than a third of the race to spare. He becomes the fourth different leader of this race. James Golding has led most of the final, while Jano Ismaya and Ross Gunn have also led. Now Ismaya fires one down the inside of Golding. They run out wide, and there's Ross Gunn to pass the pair of them. And they've got to be careful here not to spend too much time fighting one another, because Harry Webb has already started to break clear, and he's headed for the hills. So having led, what, 12 or 13 laps, poor old James Golding suddenly finds himself down in fourth. But he couldn't believe it when he saw Harry Webb steaming past to pick up the lead. I bet none of them could. And that is why he's this year's Euro Rotax Max Challenge winner. And there could be more trouble here for James Golding. He's under attack now from Parker Thompson, the Canadian. They run wheel to wheel for a few seconds, but Thompson backs out of the move midway down the straight. Golding could well do without this. He's keen, I'm sure, to try and get back in touch with the top three. But instead, he's having to get his elbows out and defend fourth place, and all the time, he's losing ground to the leaders. Thompson lines up another opportunity, and now he does take fourth place away from James Golding. So having started from pole, Golding is down to fifth place now. And I would think he's getting absolutely gutted if he doesn't get a podium finish out of this. Oh, and Thompson runs out wide, and at last some good news for Golding as he moves back to fourth place. De Valiteur thought about trying to sweep past Thompson as well, but couldn't find a gap. This then has become a three-way scrap for fourth place, and it's cost Golding a huge amount of time. After a torrid lap or two, he needs to gather his thoughts now and see if he can try and bridge the gap to third place. Having looked in control for two-thirds of the race, he's now right up against it. And just about 4 laps to go in the race now. And look at the lead that Harry Webb has very quickly been able to establish. Gunn and Ismaya are still fighting for second. Then it's wheel to wheel again for fourth, with Thompson now going through on Golding as ahead. Ismaya gets past Gunn for second place. All of this battling, of course, is only serving to allow the race leader, Harry Webb, to keep on building his pretty big advantage. Onto the start of lap 17, 2 to go, and this is the battle for second place. Jano Ismaya, Ross Gunn and Parker Thompson into the braking zone, and Thompson goes for it, gets through. Perfectly judged piece about braking that, and it puts the Canadian up into the podium places, having fought his way up from 18th on the grid. So you've got the leader, Harry Webb, who's made up 21 places in this race, and the guy in third, Parker Thompson, has made up 15 places. There's 36 overtaking moves between the pair of them. But now he runs wide and goes back to fourth again. What a shame after that super move to get the position at the start of the lap. Lap and a half to go. Can Parker Thompson get back onto the podium? It would be agonising to get so close, having done all that work to get here. But equally, you've got Ross Gunn, who's been in the top 3 for virtually the whole race. And he doesn't want to miss out either. And ahead of them both in second is Jano Ismaya. He's been in the top 3 for most of the race as well. But if you assume that Harry Webb is well on his way to winning this one, then there are only 2 places left on that podium. And one of these is going to miss out. So who will it be? Final lap of the race. Parker Thompson is trying that move again. Terrific. He's nailed it once again. But of course, now he becomes the target, and he's got to try and keep Ross Gunn at bay for almost an entire lap. spurred on, he's closing the gap to Esmire. They both are. And Thompson gives Esmire a tap. Esmire is sent wide. Thompson and Gunn both get by. Dramatic stuff here right at the very end of the race. Esmire now looks set to miss out of the podium, but it's not over yet. Gunn wants second place. He attacks the outside line. Thompson shoulders into him. Contact. Gunn all over the curbs, and Esmire's got the pair of them back. How about that? Second to fourth, then back up to second on the very last lap of the race. But here is the man, and what a truly outstanding victory it's been for Britain's Harry Webb. He wins by a country mile. Anybody would think he'd started on pole, when in fact he came from all the way back on the 11th row of the grid. Esmire hangs on to take second, and Parker Thompson completes the top three, with Ross Gunn just missing the podium. Here he is then. What a race, what a season. Euro champion, and now he wins the grand final, the World Championship of Rotax Max Racing. Harry Webb is the 2012 junior champion. Jano Esmire has been a worthy adversary all season, and he finishes as runner-up, with Parker Thompson having a great drive through to take third. But in truth, today, nobody could come close to matching the pace of Harry Webb.